So Marty, thank you so much for joining me, joining us at the PDC conference as a speaker and for taking some time out to chat with me today.
Of course, Sabahat. I'm just delighted to be participating in the conference in December.
Oh my God, yeah, we have a packed lineup and I think there's so many great sessions and your session stands out as so cool as well. But before we start, Marty, I have to say your background is so cool.
Thank you so much. I'm a product of design thinking and creativity and innovation, and I can't help but be surrounded by some of the artifacts of some of my workshops.
I love it. Love design thinking. Love that mindset that you have. Okay, so your session that we have coming up,
Yes.
it's about workforce agility.
That's right. That's right.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so workforce agility you can't have without individual mindset agility. And if you think about the environment that we're in right now, where everything is just changing so fast, we've got public health issues, we've got technology that needs to be addressed, that our ability to adapt and respond to change is going to make or break our opportunities for the future. In order for companies to move forward, we have to have the kinds of people involved in organizations to be able to have that sort of attitude.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. I was just talking about this earlier that this year has been like a very condensed and fast-tracked change experiment.
Absolutely. There's been so many unpredictable things about our lives, and people that were too attached to the outcomes this year suffered more anxiety than people who were able to flex with some of those changes.
Yeah, I completely agree. So you mentioned that having agility in the workforce is what's going to equip you to be able to get through these changes and all of this faster.
Right. One of the concepts of agility, and it's actually just things that are going on right now, is we're in an environment where learn by doing is an important part. Think about how we're all better at Zoom now than we were back in March. And so we're getting better each time we use it. So our ability to learn and then experiment, make some tweaks and changes, we're going to bring a lot more to the workplace with that type of attitude. So that's another piece of it. Another piece of agility is I wrote a book called Activate Your Agile Career. I interviewed 120 people and I commissioned primary research. And what I found is everybody falls between steadfast mindset and an agile mindset, rigid and flexible. But most people see themselves as towards the more agile and flexible sort, even though they might not yet be there.
Okay, I think that's very interesting that people perceive themselves as more flexible and agile than they are. If that's the case, do you think that are people embracing this change and being able to just go along with this change in your work that you've seen working with people and organizations embracing change? Do you see that people's perceptions in alignment with how they're actually acting?
Well, the one thing that I've noticed since the pandemic started, LinkedIn's study last year of what the most important power skills, soft skills were, the most in demand for employers, last year in 2019, so it would have been January 2020, the number one was creativity. Well, I wanted to see, well, what has changed? And LinkedIn studies and all the other studies aren't going to be coming out until the first of the year. So I put together a just-in-time survey to better understand what was happening now. I wanted to know how we changed. And what's number one right now is EQ, emotional intelligence. Number two, communication. Number three, adaptability. Adaptability moved up from the number 5 to number 3. So it's these kinds of things. And things like time management are more important. So yes, I do think people are responding. They're changing and adapting to it, even if at first they were afraid of it.
Wow, that's really interesting. The findings from the LinkedIn study and how adaptability has gone up like in importance, and I can totally see how that would be right now in today's world.
Yeah.
So in your the session that's coming up, can people expect a very like hands-on, very interactive session, or can they expect just to learn a lot and take some really good notes? What can they expect?
They're going to get a framework of why agility, why now, and how did agility come into the mindset of people, talking about agile software development, agile marketing, agile HR, and agile transformation, why these things exist and why they're so important now, and why maybe they weren't such a big deal 20 years ago. Then they're going to get a little bit of insight into the research. They're going to understand how people are wired, from whether they're steadfast or agile, how they differ, and things like career scope, decision bias, conflict reaction. So they'll get a little bit technical there with some charts and diagrams. And then there's going to be, how do you spot agility in the workplace? Things like viewing your career as a series of projects, A/B testing your scenarios. And they'll go through principles. We're going to have a case study. And then we're going to actually talk about how to roll out a workforce agility program within an organization. Very high level summary, because you can't do that much within 50 minutes or 45 minutes, but there's going to be enough of a snapshot of everything.
That sounds so jam-packed with such useful information. I myself can't wait to be in your session. You will see me at your session. I can't wait to be at your session, listening to this and hearing about it, because that sounds amazing, Marti. So before I wrap it up, so now we've learned a little bit about you. This is awesome. If other attendees want to know even more about you before we get to the conference itself, where can they find you online?
I'm going to give you one place. It's probably the best place. On LinkedIn, I have one of the fastest growing newsletters called Agility Think.
Okay.
I just surpassed 20,000 subscribers this week. So if you go onto LinkedIn and you look at any of my articles, they're in the article section. That's where you can find out all of my latest thinking and the latest research. The best place. And then of course the website and all that, but you can get that from there.
That's amazing. So LinkedIn, and go and subscribe to Marti's newsletter called Agility Think. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Marti, for spending some time with me here. And I can't wait to chat with you again, or hear you on December 1st.
Thanks, Sabahat. It was just delightful chatting with you. Can't wait till December.